Hello everyone, I'm Alec, and today I'll be presenting a book talk for high school students. As high school students, you're getting ready to go out into the great wide world. As such, the books I've selected for this book talk are all about those who wanted something more than their current lives and pursued adventure on their own. The first book I'll be introducing is Alexander Hamilton, The Outsider, written by Gene Fritz. In this biography, readers will learn about the founding father himself, from the humblest of beginnings, born to unwed parents, to the name he made for himself through sheer determination, will, and a bit of natural brilliance. Though his childhood was far from unhappy, Hamilton always sought more out of life. Hamilton's tendency to challenge himself and push beyond his limits is a key factor in his story, as it enabled him to grow all the stronger for it. Given the breakthrough popularity of the Broadway musical Hamilton, it would be well worth brushing up on your historical knowledge of the man himself before listening to those catchy songs, which are packed full of historical references. Amid your busy high school schedules, this book will actually fit in rather easily, as it is a brief, although well worth it, read at a mere 132 pages, including its beautiful illustrations. Author Gene Fritz characterizes Hamilton in a relatable manner, and this biography flows nearly as quickly as an adventure novel. Along the way, the book includes lesser-known facts about the man who today is pictured on the $10 bill. For Hamilton, the journey and the destination were one and the same. Magic. Sometimes in the humdrum of mundane daily life, a little bit of magic is what the mind needs to recharge. That's why the next book I present to you for consideration is The Lost Years of Merlin by T.A. Barron. Later editions just refer to it as The Lost Years. This book follows the adventures of a young version of the grand Arthurian wizard of legend himself. The book begins with Emrys, a young boy living in ancient Wales, who has lost his memories. He is cared for by a loving woman who insists, despite his curiosities, that she is his mother. After he discovers that he can wield a great and awesome power, and discovers the risks incurred if he misuses it or loses control, Emrys runs away on a raft, floating across the ocean, and awakens on the magical island of Fincara. Along his journey, Emrys meets several figures from Celtic paganism, representing a culture that, despite its resurgence in modern society over the last several decades, is rarely actually pictured in stories. On the journey to come, Emrys finds his true name, a new name, as it were, Merlin. The first in a series of 5 total, author T.A. Barron sets the stage for an epic of high fantasy. Don't have time for all 5? Don't worry. This book can also function as a standalone story. That being said, I think you'll find it quite charming. If I remember one thing from high school, it's always being out of time. Wouldn't it be great if you could pop back in time on a whim, especially if you could avoid all those reality-ending paradoxes? That's why the next book I'd like to mention is the science fiction novel Tempest by Julie Cross. Tempest follows the adventures through time of Jackson, a 19-year-old who discovers one day that he can travel back in time without changing anything. Despite a life of wealth and relative ease, Jackson is forced to reevaluate everything he knows about his family, his friends, and his entire life after armed guards burst into a room, try to capture him, and fatally shoot his girlfriend Holly, wounding her and likely killing her. Jackson wakes up years in the past. Now, he must determine what happened while debating whether to romantically pursue Holly all over again. The first of a trilogy, Tempest is a beautiful, enchanting, and tragic story. Don't have time for a full trilogy? Well, just jump back in time. Can't do that either? Yeah, me too. Trust me, I'm in grad school, I wish I could. Then the good news is that Tempest stands on its own perfectly well. In fact, I went years thinking it was a standalone novel. Wow, I really wish I could go back in the past and tell the old me. As mentioned, these 3 books span 3 different genres, yet all center around a theme. For high schoolers such as yourselves, adventures into the grand world of life are just around the corner. Just as each of these characters boldly went to find their destinies, I encourage each of you to find your own. In the meantime, I recommend visiting your local libraries to find copies of the 3 books presented today. Thank you. Enjoy your adventures.